Good morning. I'm Temple Custer Montanez, and I am the Director of Community Relations for the Fairfield County Board of Developmental Disabilities. Obviously, I'm not there with you this morning, and I do apologize, but I am on a very belated honeymoon with my husband, and we've been married 7 years. So, in the meantime, I'm going to be communicating with you this morning via video. So, I hope that that works well for you. First and foremost, I want to tell you what a pleasure it is to work at Fairfield DD, and I am very humbled to have the opportunity and the privilege to tell the great stories, and there are a lot of them, that take place both inside and outside the walls of Fairfield DD. As a community relations specialist, you build and you maintain relationships with individuals and organizations throughout the community that support the goals of Fairfield DD. And in turn, in doing so, we are able to support the goals of the people we support. So there was probably a time when it was as simple as reporting or writing a press release and sending your news or your information to print media. Times have changed, obviously, and in Fairfield County, our primary source of print media, which is the Lancaster Eagle Gazette, has changed a lot over the years. In fact, I started my career as a reporter for that very newspaper. At the time, the circulation was about 30,000, and currently the print circulation of the Lancaster Eagle Gazette is down around 5,000. Now, they do have an increasing online presence, which we do take advantage of. We also use, as far as print media goes, the Town Crier, which is a free circular that goes to every house in Fairfield County. It's divided up into two different sections, one serving the lower half of the county and one serving the northern half of the county. We have a great relationship with them, and we do get a lot of publicity through them. However, I'm communicating with you through a phone, and that's really how people are doing things nowadays. People want their news quickly, they want it conveniently, and they want it when they want it. So we have really had to make a lot of changes and strides in the community relations department as far as how we are communicating both with the public and with the people that we support. Obviously, social media, what can you say? It's everywhere. And it's constantly evolving. I like to joke that it evolves because of our children. The minute that we get on a social media platform that our children are on, they're off of it and on to another one, right? So there is a demographic involved, and especially when you're talking about age groups. Currently, our Facebook following, which is the primary source of social media that we use, has almost double the amount of people following us that we actually support. I believe 4 years ago, our following was around 200 or 300, and we currently have 3,000 regular followers on our Facebook posts, which we think of as quite a win. We also have to stay on top of the analytics of social media. For example, since we're talking about Facebook, when we create a post, there's a very specific time that we place that post. We have a content calendar, which I will give you an example of, that will show what days we're posting which posts and when and at what time. Through the miracle of Facebook, we can actually go back and see not only how many people saw those posts, but how many people engaged with those posts, how many people shared the post, how many people liked the post, and we can also do the same thing with videos that we produce as well. The reason that this is important is because currently in the age bracket of about 33 and younger, that age group is about 84% of them are getting their news from their phone. They don't use a traditional news source anymore. They're not watching 4, 6, and 10 like we did when we were growing up. So it's very important to reach those people where they're at. Another interesting point, though, is that many of the people we support have smartphones and have Facebook accounts and have Instagram accounts. And it's a really viable and inexpensive way for us to reach that demographic as well. Speaking of inexpensive, that's the beauty of social media. It costs nothing for us to post something on Facebook or Instagram, both of which accounts we use pretty frequently. And in addition to that, we can boost those ads, which just simply means that we pay to spread them out even further, and that is at a really nominal cost. So social media is a really big part of what we do. As I mentioned, we do now have an Instagram account, and we do have a Twitter account we don't use quite as frequently, simply because of the demographic that we're reaching locally. They're not big Twitter users. Of course, we're sticklers for some of the old traditional ways of reaching people and telling the stories. The first way is that we do a monthly 20-minute show on the local cable access through Interface Video Productions. It's called Fairfield Today. We record one a month. And then after those have continued, been running for about a month or so, they do get put onto our YouTube page, which you can reach via our website. Those are really fun segments to do, and I love to go out in the community and talk with people that we support, find out about different programs that are going on, and really get out there and talk to people. It's not always the easiest way, primarily because a lot of people get nervous when you put a camera in front of their face. Obviously, I'm not one of them, thank goodness. But once we calm people's fears and kind of get those stories out of them, it can be a really fun and interactive way to tell a story. We also have a radio show. Our radio show airs every Saturday morning and Sunday morning on local 104.5 FM, which is also called The Wolf, used to be WLOH. That's a great listenership for us, and I do those shows, usually one or two a month. But again, I make sure that the topics are relative so that we can rerun those when need be. Most of the time for those types of shows, I'm interviewing someone, primarily an employee of ours, that talks about some of the different services that Fairfield DD supplies, or also about information that might be applicable to everybody in the community. So for example, I may talk with one of our behavior specialists about how to maneuver children with developmental disabilities through the holiday season, or we talk about back to school, or we may talk about integrated preschool, or just all sorts of different things. But I do really try and make sure that those topics are applicable to anybody that would listen, not just somebody that happens to have a family member with a developmental disability. Another way that we reach and tell the stories of the people that we support is through our website. About a year and a half ago, we did redesign our website using a program that is very, very user-friendly and also very simple, very simplified. We have a lot of white space on our website. We are doing our best to make it ADA compliant. And a lot of that, to get technical, has to do with meta tags and hashtags and descriptions of photos and the titles of photos. And I won't bore you with all of that, but I will tell you it is something that we keep at the forefront of what we do. As a matter of fact, we had a conference last week with all the PR professionals in our region talking only about that subject, about how to make sure that we're maintaining ADA compliance through social media and also through our website. Our website is very interactive. Because of what we do, we have 81% typically of our users go to our website via a desktop computer. That's very significant. That's a pretty high number actually for these days. By comparison, Art and Clay on Main, our social enterprise, something like 90% of their users are getting to their site via their phone. So because of that, we make sure that the images and the videos that we put up on our website look best in that format, look best on the format of a desktop, but also we also make sure that they will be easily read and easily comprehended on a mobile device such as a tablet or a smartphone. Probably the most interesting way that we connect with our community is through special events and just being active in other people's special events. You know, this is a small community. It's definitely a we'll scratch your back, you scratch our back type of situation. But it's great. It's fantastic. The community partners that we have throughout Fairfield County, be it in other agencies, be it in local small businesses, are really tremendous. And we really do all hold hands and try and walk toward a common goal. Some examples of this is we have a great relationship now with Lancaster Parks and Recreation. We were able to go to them several years ago and say, hey, have you thought about maybe a day camp for children with developmental disabilities? And so they started that process, and we helped them through it and did all the training and publicized it and marketed it for them. And it was so successful that now, a mere 3 years later, they actually have done away with the All Abilities Camp because those children have been integrated into typical camps. That's a win for us. Hopefully that you'll get a chance this morning to talk with our Community Connections Manager, Rachel McCoy, and she can tell you a little bit about some of the cool things that are coming up, such as our video game club, some of the things that we're working on with the Down Syndrome Association of Central Ohio, and some of the things that we've done with the libraries. But for the most part, when we talk about events in the community or even opportunities in the community, we really try to make sure that we're not the ones particularly creating an event or an opportunity for people with developmental disabilities. We're happy to help, we're happy to assist, and we're even, happy to attend the first 2, 3, 4 meetings or events. However, it's always our goal to slowly step back, to walk away and to let that thing grow organically. And that can be challenging. It can be challenging to put a lot of thought and effort into an idea or a special event, knowing that this may not stick. But that's part of it. That's part of the gamble. And if something's going to work in an organic fashion, that's just a chance that we have to take. And so far, it's worked out really well. Finally, one of the more rewarding things that we're doing right now is actually going out into the community and doing a little bit of 101 training. Listen, I'm not a psychologist, and very few of us are. But what we can offer people in the community is a little bit of a deeper understanding, even if it's at a basic level, of what it means to have a developmental disability, what an integrated community could look like and sometimes does look like. And then we always tell people when we go out into the community, ask us anything. You can ask, you can't offend us. We've heard it all. And it's been a really great experience. For example, we went out this summer, the very beginning of the summer, and spoke to all of the lifeguards and to all of the employment staff at the public swimming pools. Kind of seemed like a no-brainer, but when we got out there, it was really interesting, the questions that they were asking, not only just about people with developmental disabilities, but about trauma-informed support, and just basic questions. And that's really valuable because we want people in the community to think of Fairfield ED as their resource. We don't want them to think of the people that take care of those people. We want them to think of their county board. And we are their county board, and we can be a tremendous value and a tremendous resource to a lot of people who don't have a family member with a developmental disability. But if we're going to make integration seamless, then we need to be able to explain to people on a very basic level what integration can look like. And we're making some strides. So I've talked a lot about some of the things that we are doing through the Community Relations Department, and hopefully that gives you a little bit better understanding of who we are and what keeps us busy during the week. At the end of the day, my one goal is this. I want to make sure that the people in Fairfield County have a clear understanding of what a tremendous organization this is and all of the wonderful things that are happening for people with developmental disabilities and by people with developmental disabilities all of the time between the 10 years that exist between two levies. I don't want to come out 3 months before a levy and have to spend taxpayer dollars telling people how great we are. They should already know that because we are. We're playing a major role in the success of Fairfield County, and we have so many great stories to tell. It's an honor to tell them.